I wouldn't say I'm the most organized person when it comes to my digital life, but I like to think I'm getting there. I had a rude awakening when I was looking for an important document and it was just such a time-consuming struggle to find it. Thanks a lot past me. It was at that moment I decided to make a change. It's not easy when you're faced with tens of thousands of pictures and you must keep every single one of your kids, or when you have endless unread emails. But I started doing these small habits I'm about to share with you that really helped me to get a handle on my digital life and to hopefully become digitally clutter-free. The first thing I started doing is decluttering the files on my laptop, because oftentimes as a digital creator, my laptop can be so full of files and images and videos and designs I created in Canva, and so I just really needed to get a handle on that. And this happened when I was scrolling through my folders looking for images, and they were all labeled Untitled 1, Untitled 2, Untitled 3, and so it was such a pain to find what I was looking for. And not only was it frustrating, but it was also taking so much of my time. I have this business I'm trying to run, and I also have 2 small children, so I can't afford wasting a lot of time just doing tasks like this when I could focus on things that mattered most to me, either in growing my business or in raising and caring for my children. So this was a really good lesson for me to start labeling my files correctly, so give them a name that's descriptive of what's actually inside the image or the PDF or whatever it is, and to also try to put them in folders. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's not perfect, I'm still working on this, but it's just so that I can find things easier when I'm looking for things for my courses or things for the freebies I offer, like my free declutter checklist. And the system that I've created here for myself is when I download things on my laptop, I download everything into the regular downloads folder. But then every week or so, or every month, whenever I get a chance and I kind of remember, I try to go through and sort it out. So I don't want to let it pile on again. So I will delete what I don't need anymore. And a lot of files that I feel like, oh, I should keep for future reference, actually I can probably download them from the website I initially downloaded them anyway. So I don't have to keep all of them on my computer unless it's something really important, something I reference a lot, then yes, I will keep it. But we can actually get rid of so many things we don't really need anymore. And then the things that I want to keep, I sort them in folders. And I mean, it sounds so basic, but I just didn't do that before. Because now it's not about creating folder 1, folder 2, folder 3. It's about naming those folders in a specific way, like, my YouTube channel things for my blog, just more specific to where I can easily find it. I also went through desktop icons. So, my desktop can get so full of little things. I again stopped downloading everything on my desktop. Instead, I have that downloads folder that I use because I just don't want my desktop to become so full that when I open my computer to do some work, the first thing I see is just this whole mumble jumble of things that overwhelm me. That's not my goal. My goal is to have as streamlined as possible, and I want to feel inspired and I want to feel calm when I'm creating or when I'm working on my business. I don't want to feel stressed out, and a desktop full of icons is stressful to me. So I only keep a few key folders on my desktop, and then everything else gets categorized into folders that are kind of stashed away and not on the main desktop. One thing I have been doing is deleting some of my older YouTube videos that I've created here, because they can take up so much space, especially with some of the newer cameras. The one that I'm filming on right now, they can take up a lot of space on my laptop. I do keep a few key clips here and there that I want to reuse in future videos, but for the most part, once the video is live on YouTube, I will kind of delete it. I'm trying to make this a habit so that I go through them often, so my laptop doesn't get just full of big files that take up all my storage space. And I think becoming digitally clutter-free can be especially hard if you're a digital creator, or if you just take a lot of pictures, or your work involves a lot of content creation. It can pile on so much. We also have our family calendar synced up, and this is something I started doing to kind of streamline and simplify everything. Once my first child started going to school, and you get all these events and school emails and things you need to keep track of. And then we also had our second baby with appointments and now starting nursery soon. It's just the whole family calendar can get so hectic. So if I don't have a way to kind of have everything in one spot where we can access it, both myself and my husband kind of synced up, if I don't do that, it's just gonna be a mess. So the one way I do this when I read school emails is I'll just have my Google Calendar open on my phone, and I will put in there all the school events and things I need to remember, any doctor's appointments, anything like that goes in there. And it's synced up on my phone, on my desktop, and on my husband's as well. So we can both see anything that changes, we can see that instantly. And it's just been a game changer, because you know, all that back and forth with sometimes your partner, where it's like, oh, when is that appointment? When are they going to do this? When is family reading at school? This way, it's all in one place and it can be easily accessed. I also started using an app called Notion. I use the free version, and it's helped me so much in both my business and my personal life as well. So I use it for kind of both, to keep track of things. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure how to use it at first, so I took a Notion class on Skillshare. This part of the video is kindly sponsored by Skillshare, by the way. If you haven't heard of it yet, Skillshare is the biggest online learning community with a bunch of classes on so many different topics. It's honestly brilliant. The Skillshare class I took about Notion was by Ali Abdul, the productivity expert, and it really made me look at my own systems and how I can optimize them. I honestly feel like I've gained back some time in my days by doing this. One of my favorite ways to use Notion is to create my YouTube system, so I can keep track of what videos I'm filming, when I'm editing them. And I also really love my Resonate board, which was inspired by Ali's class, and that's where I keep track of things that basically inspire me. So, you know, whether it's podcasts or books, I will put them on there with little notes I have or things that kind of stood out to me. And that's a really good way to have everything in one spot, because sometimes I want to reference back a book, or I think, oh, I know I read that somewhere, and I can just quickly search in my Resonate board and I can see where that came from. It is super easy to find a class on Skillshare, whether it's, you know, about growing your career or your business, or whether this is a year where we want to make more room for our creative side. I have found so much joy in kind of leaning more towards my creative side. And I've also enjoyed getting creative with piano lessons. If you're ready to give it a go, the first 500 people to join Skillshare using my link will get 1 month free trial. So if you give it a go, let me know what you think. Now let's talk emails. That can be a big one, whether it's unread emails or junk emails or everything in between. And sometimes from a different email platforms as well. It can just feel so overwhelming on how to get started. What I did for some of the older emails, I just straight either deleted them or made them read, so that they wouldn't be like a notification I had to tackle. If they're a lot older emails, if you haven't even opened them, then you probably don't need them. That's what I told myself. And also I tried to do some habit stacking. This is something I learned in the Atomic Habits book that I mention a lot. So it's basically where you look at the habits you currently have and add something else on top of it, because it makes building a new habit a lot easier. So when it comes to emails, I kind of asked myself, you know, what are some moments in my day when I'm just aimlessly scrolling? We all have those. We just open Instagram and just scroll. And I tried to think, you know, can I use some of that time to tackle some emails, whether that's replying to them or just deleting some old ones or marking them as read. My goal was to reach inbox 0, and I am happy to say I am there. It's not an easy process, especially if you have like thousands of them. But by doing these tiny habits, it can really make a dent. And it's so much nicer opening my email app and only seeing like 2-3 emails that I need to get back to, rather than seeing thousands and thousands that make me feel like, you know, I have so much that I need to accomplish and I'm feeling so behind. Oh, and also while I was doing this, it's a good moment to hit unsubscribe from newsletters and just things you're not interested in anymore, so that you can prevent them from coming in again. I also started decluttering photos on my phone, and this is also a big one. I had so many random screenshots, and because I create content for my Instagram as well, I take so many pictures and videos, and those can take up a lot of space. But I try to go through them, see if there's anything outdated, I can delete those. One trick I saw that I'm gonna try to incorporate more, I don't know who came up with this, but I've seen it a few times, is to go through your photos and go through, you know, how you have the memories from like 1 year back, 2 years back, and delete any pictures from that day that are just like screenshots you don't need anymore, any pictures you don't really want. And it's a small thing we can do that in time will make a difference. I've also gone through the apps I have on my phone, because those can add up so much. Sometimes I download an app and I give it a try, but then I decide it's not for me, and I try to remember to actually delete it. I have deleted some social media that I'm not really using, like for example TikTok, and I was keeping it for the longest time because I thought, well, I have to have it. I'm a content creator, you know, I should keep on top of it. But there's only so much you can keep up with in this day and age, and I decided TikTok is just not for me, at least not at the moment. So for this, I like to use the 3-6 rule. You can actually have a look and see which are your most used apps and which ones you haven't opened in a long time. Sometimes you can't see for every single app depending on your settings, but I just have a look through that list and think, you know, have I used this in the past 3 to 6 months? And if I haven't even opened it, if I don't even know maybe what it's for, then I can simply delete it. One thing I have done a long time ago that I feel like has simplified a lot my digital space, and is also something that kind of protects my mental space too, is to remove app notifications. I actually don't get notifications. I don't get any of those banners. I think I get maybe a few of them, like from most important things. I leave messages and like WhatsApp messages from, you know, my husband or the school or doctors, things like that, that obviously you want to have coming in. But things from WhatsApp groups, like school groups, or email notifications, or social media like Instagram likes and comments, I do not need to have that coming through in my phone all day, every day. I have found that to be very distracting. It pulls my focus and it makes me want to go on my phone again and again, and I don't want to be interrupted in certain moments. Like sometimes when I'm playing with my kids, or sometimes when I'm filming a video, I don't want my attention to be constantly drawn to my phone. And one thing I've also started doing when it comes to digital app subscriptions is to actually keep on top of them. And I used to find it so hard because you start a trial, right, for something, like for example for Fitbit Premium, that's like a 6-month trial, and in 6 months I'm absolutely going to forget that it's going to renew unless I keep on top of it. And one way I have found to really help me is whenever I start a new trial for anything, I will put it in my calendar. So I'll put it, you know, the day before it expires in my calendar to say cancel trial Fitbit, something like that. And then, you know, when those 6 months pass, or maybe it's like 30 days, I can see it in my calendar and I can assess, you know, is this something I actually want to pay for or not? But it's just really helpful to have those reminders, because otherwise we might end up paying for a lot of services and apps that we just don't really need. I have some more minimalist tips that I've incorporated into my life that you might find useful if you liked this video. It will be linked on the screen here, and I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.